Hey there! So in today's video we're going to be doing some fun things with magnets. Now I have used magnets before in some of my videos. If you've watched the video of me making the puppet version of Mabel, you will notice that I put a magnet in her face and then was able to use interchangeable mouthpieces, which was quite exciting, something I haven't tried before, but I really enjoyed it and it's definitely something I want to try again. I have tried magnets, however, before for making puppets walk, and this is where I'm going to solve all of your problems with magnets. Now I say all of your problems, it's actually only really going to solve one problem, but it is quite a big problem in stop motion. But just before we get started with that, I just want to say a couple of safety reminders up top. Sorry to be boring, but safety first, kids. We are going to be using some very small magnets today, so if you have any small children or animals or grown-ups who just like to eat anything lying around, please make them aware that they shouldn't be eating the magnets. So be safe, keep them somewhere out of reach, children, animals, etc. Also, magnets can affect pacemakers and other such cardio devices, so if you are a pacemaker user, just do get some advice before using magnets, just because I don't want to cause some sort of health emergency while trying to solve another problem. I think that's all for now. So yeah, basically don't eat the magnets, just eat snacks. So have a snack and we'll get going with the magnets. So this is probably a less than glamorous setup, but I'm making do with what I have. Don't think because you've just got like a small flat or something you can't make a stop motion set. As long as you can basically fit yourself, a camera and a small set into where you live, you can make an animation. So basically I've got my camera set up here to do the stop motion, and then over here is my set. And yes, that is a microwave. Thanks for asking. We have our lovely puppet here. We have it all clamped down. I've used this chest of drawers because this is the sturdiest thing I have. And then somewhere up here there is some lights. I'm basically just using the spotlights in the room for this. I do have some other lights I normally use. I think it's called an architect's lamp, but this is actually really good bright light, so it might work just using this. We'll see. I'm just doing a test at the time being, so it doesn't really matter if it's not the most slick animation. It's never going to be that sleek, is it? I'm involved. So we're just going to do a test here with the puppet that is happily walking on his own without any legs or other confusion. So we're just going to test this animation out. This is probably the most basic type of animation you can do, just literally taking your little puppet, taking a picture, move the puppet a centimetre or so forward and take another picture. This is a really good thing to try out if you just need to animation and want to give it a go. And just looking at this here, I can see shadows and things on the set, so I think going forward, especially when I film the main animation, I'm going to want another light from this direction just to counteract that shadow. But certainly for the time being, this seems to be working fine. You can see everything. Also, I am noticing there's a lot of shadow from me, so be careful when you're taking your pictures that your arms are A, out of the shot, but B, your shadow is, because that's going to look a bit weird in the animation. And in case you're wondering why a walrus is wandering across a living room, I can't really help you there. No logical explanation is that they should be in the sea or near the sea, not wandering across someone's living room. I imagine they would make quite a lot of mess. I've not met a lot of walruses in my time. I don't think I've met any walruses. I imagine they would make quite a large amount of mess with, I don't know, walrus poop. I don't know. You'd be happy to learn that that is not my area of expertise. So now we're just going to put those pictures together and see how that looks. Right, so we're going to try it with Mabel here. I don't know if you remember Mabel from my previous videos. What a cutie she is. So we've gone to all the trouble of making this lovely puppet, and now we need to actually use her for something functional. I say functional, I mean it's an animation. She's not actually going to go out and do my shopping for me or anything. Gosh, how exciting would that be? I think she'd trample to Sainsbury's, wouldn't she? So we need to get her walking. Now I have done my best to make her centre of gravity as low as I can. I've made sure to use a decent amount of the epoxy clay for the feet. I do normally make my puppets with quite chunky feet just because it helps weight them down, and I make sure to have as little weight on the top as possible, which is why this head is made from polystyrene. I've also in the past used tinfoil balled up, or obviously if you've seen the astronaut video, I used a ping pong ball. So basically just using as light materials as possible, certainly on the top of the puppet, to keep the central gravity low so they're less likely to topple over, which is not what you want in the middle of a scene, because what if you don't know where that puppet was? What if you have to film it all again? What if you just have to scrap the last couple of hours work? So yeah, that's not what you want. But I'm just going to show you what happens if I try to make this lady walk without any magnets. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's going to go well. As you can see, you sort of can do this, but it's incredibly tedious. Every time I move her, she's just wanting to fall over. In order to make her try and walk, I'm sort of shuffling her more than doing a proper walk. Her feet can't really come off the ground because she needs both of them there to sort of stabilise her. Yeah, it's where was she stood? I don't know where she was stood. There is another option, so I'm just going to show you the other option that you have without magnets. I mean, there are different options in terms of holding them up, but in terms of your options, if you're not using anything to hold them up, this is a backup option. So now what we're going to do is just what we did with the walrus, where we're just going to move her, take a picture. If we watch this back, obviously, let's say she looks completely mental, she's sort of scooting along. It might to an extent work if you had a very long skirt on, and then she would just sort of like, ooh, it's like she's on wheels or something. Perhaps if she's on a skateboard, although, would she be on a skateboard in her own home? I mean, do what you want in your own home, guys. There's no one stopping you. But yeah, it's a bit of an odd look. However, if we now zoom into that shot, it can work on a zoom to a certain extent because you can't see the legs, you can just see your body moving, which is sort of what you'd see if someone was walking. Like if someone was walking past your window in your home and you just saw their body moving, you wouldn't necessarily know what was going on below. They could be on skateboard, they could be on roller skates, they could be walking, they could have a walking stick. You might not necessarily know. But overall, there's options that I've used. They're not ideal. There are some workarounds that you can use, but when you've gone to all the difficulty of making a puppet with all these, you know, arms and legs that move, you really want to be able to actually utilise that function and make them walk properly. So let's go and have a look at the magnets. So we've got two different types of magnets we're going to use here today. We're going to use some magnets on the feet of the puppets and then on the set itself. Magnets do attract to each other, but they do also attract different types of metal. So if you'd made your set of a type of metal that would attract the magnets, or that the magnets would be attracted to, you could do that as well, but I'm going to use two different types of magnets. Now the magnets I'm going to use on the floor are these. Let's just open this package up here. So these come in little pairs. They are like sticky back magnets, so if you see there is the little magnet surface, and then on the back there's just like a sticky peely bit, so you can see there that peels off. And there is like a sticky bit on the back, like if you were using some sort of tape or something, and it's quite nice and sticky. And these are, because I'd been planning ahead, the same colour as the bottom of my set. So obviously you can see that there, but it's minimal. I am trying to sort of conceal them. You will still be able to see them in the set, but it doesn't just look like, bam, I'm cheating here. I have in the past then just been blatant about them. If we look at my animation question mark that I released in the summer of 2024, we can see that I've made a sort of zebra crossing or some sort of crossing type look with yellow and black, which I think looks quite cool, and I've just sort of embraced the look. But for this, we're going to try and conceal them to a certain extent, so I'm just going to stick those on the floor. If anyone wonders where you would get such magnets from, I got these from eBay, and these are from a company called Magnet Shop in the UK. I've sort of offset the magnets so it would be how you would walk. I might need to add some more, so we're basically doubled up and fill all these bits in. We'll see how this goes. Now, I have previously used those for the feet. If we look at this lady, August, I used them on her feet, which frankly are a bit of a train wreck. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but they were just a little bit messy. It did work in a practical sense, but aesthetically not very pleasing. So what I've gone with this time is some very small magnets. Now, because they're small, I've made sure to get very high strength magnets, and they're very small, so we're going to be able to conceal them very well. I'm just going to try and like stick them on the sole of the foot like that. I think that's going to be hardly noticeable at all from the top view. At most it might look a very small heel on the shoe, but I don't think it's going to be very noticeable at all. I mean, they're super thin. I think they're maybe like 1 millimeter thin or something. You're really not going to be able to notice them. I'm going to stick those on with some hot glue from a glue gun. Now, in terms of walking, we're going to do 4 movements. 3, I'll talk you through them. So we're going to start off with her like this. We're then going to move 1 foot forward, but keep this foot stuck down. We're then going to transfer her weight onto this foot and tip her like this. So this foot's then backwards and she's onto the next magnet. Then we're going to bring this foot up to meet it so she's stood again. That is the plan. Using, of course, the magnets that we've got on here and sticking those to these, which should hopefully make her easier to walk. So I'm just going to do that now, and I'm going to put that animation together, and hopefully she'll be walking and not stumbling about and making general chaos. Her magnet's fallen off. Oh goodness. So, as you might be able to see here, let's zoom in a bit. Look at those little guys down there. The magnets. So basically, what as we've found here is the magnets are stronger than the glue. So what's happened here is the magnet's stuck to the other magnet. Her foot's moved, and it's then peeled it off the bottom of her feet. Magnets 1, Rosie 0. So I'll get these magnets off here, peel this nugget of glue that was clearly doing absolutely nothing, and try something else. Hi there. So I'm on the floor going mental. Sorry if this angle looks really weird, but I didn't want to fully set up all my set and then the magnets to fall out again. So to stop me going slightly insane, although I'm already lying on the floor, so things have already got to quite a level of insanity, we're going to try using the puppet on the floor and just see if the magnets actually stick to the feet. So please do bear with me while we check these magnets out again. So they're all stuck now. They look stuck, but they did look stuck last time, and that didn't work out so well, so we'll see how this goes. No. That does not look promising, does it? So I basically gave up on those magnets and just went back to using the magnets that I've previously used on the feet, basically those same ones I used on the set. I've cut those to the size of the feet. I've just used regular scissors, it's quite easy to cut through them. And then I've stuck them onto the feet with some hot glue. They didn't fit perfectly, so I basically just sort of filled the holes up with hot glue and then tried to smooth that out with a pencil. Obviously this doesn't look the neatest, so I went in after this with some paint and just sort of tidied it up a little bit. But at least we do know these magnets work. We are back. We've got new magnets on our shoes. I think they're probably going to need another coat of paint, but they're certainly functional for the time being, so I'm just going to make sure everything is in full working order before I put on some more paint. But as I say, I have tried this method before, so hopefully this is the last time I'm going to test these magnets out. Otherwise, I may scream. So let's get going and see how this goes. So relieved that worked, even though I tried that before after all the chaos with the glue. I wasn't even convinced that was going to work, but it did. So let's just put that together and see how that looks. Yes, So excited. I measured a little wave because I love doing a little wave in the middle of anything. I don't really know why. I used to as a child, you know, when you used to like wave at trains and stuff. As if people on trains want to be waved at. Who knows? Now let's wrap this up. So after quite a lot of faffing, we have finally got there and we've made the puppet walk with the magnet. Now, as ever, I've kept in the things that went wrong, the things that went right. I want to show you that you can do stop motion even if you don't really know what you're doing. Certainly if you are a beginner, you're just going to end up having to do a bit of trial and error. I would say if you're someone like me who is doing this completely from scratch with no kind of proper training or anything and trying to do this on a relatively small budget, I don't have thousands of pounds to try and pour into this. You're going to end up having to do a bit of trial and error, but I think that's a good way of learning, and hopefully you're learning something from watching that. So yeah, I hope you found all that useful. In the next episode, we're going to be going behind the scenes of my next animation, which is about a spaceman, which is very exciting. I'm mixing a few animation techniques, so it's going to be something a little new to me. So let's hope it doesn't go as wrong as the magnets did. Who knows? Stay tuned and you can laugh at me some more. Do make sure to subscribe to be kept up to date about all things animation, and I'll see you all again really soon. Bye!